to your snow in your car.
Yeah, because we'll kind of talk about it, but like it started off pretty cold, cold in quotes, but like in the 60s, which felt great. I mean, that's great for being in the parks,
Yeah.
But now when you're at Stormalong Bay, man, you want it to be hot.
Yeah, you do. Okay, we're live. So
drinking.
Where are you going here? Oh, so this Sunday night we're not going to do a live show because it's Valentine's Day. I don't want to get anybody. We'll probably go out to eat or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We probably won't, but I'm just not going to chance it. I'm just going to not do it. I don't want to be like, where are you going? Doing a live show. It's Valentine's Day. No. So we'll do it. We'll start next Sunday.
Did you see this photo of like the storm that I took? It probably doesn't come up good here.
Yeah, no, I saw. Is that the one you put like no filter that morning?
Yeah, and then I did like an edited one too, which was nuts, but I like that one better.
Yeah, I love God. Florida just has the best like sunrises, sunsets, storms, the sky.
I didn't get many sunrises though. There was only like 3 mornings where I caught one. It was overcast the rest of the time. But then it get like sunny later in the day, but it was past the sunrise.
I can't even hardly talk. I'm so like, because I had that. I finished off Mallory's teriyaki chicken. I had cashew chicken, but dang, I'm like dehydrated. Like I feel like I'm like a slug and like
and I'm just like sweating because I just got done doing 5 miles.
Oh, did you do it on the treadmill?
Yeah, I did on the oh man, I'm not running outside. You
me neither, dude. I haven't been outside since Christmas. It is so nasty here.
That's why it's nice to be down there though, especially at the Yacht Club, man. I could go out every morning and that was so nice.
I haven't been outside. I literally have not hardly been outside like in a month. Like I'll go outside. Well, now that we don't have Riley here. I have I'll drive to Taco Bell a couple times a week. That's about it. Like Pam went and got dinner tonight, so I won't leave the house tomorrow probably. So sad. You are our guest today, Alfred. You're our guest. Okay, so this is for Monday, so we will rock it out. Okay, here we go.
So President's Day.
Oh, it is President's Day. Holy cow. President's Day seems like it's early this year.
It's early because it's the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So when the 1st of February is a Monday.
Mallory's off on Monday. I'm like, why should I have a Monday? She's like, it's President's Day. I'm like, it is already the day after Valentine's. Yeah.
And we were down there last President's Day weekend. We snuck that last trip before everything went down.
Yep. I was there for Princess.
Because you were there, like you showed up like the day after we left. Like we should have just stayed.
Yeah, God, that was so fun. That was that last night I even posted a picture of just like a cruise, like one of our like
I saw it.
The balcony, like back the ship. Like I just
like aft balconies are the best.
You could hear the water. Like I just wanted to hear the water. Oh, love it. Good evening, Michael. Happy late, I guess.
Now I'm trying to like tag all my Google photos for palm trees so that I can post a palm tree.
That's one of the things we're talking about. So we can get built up. Oh, Robert's in Kansas. Hey, Robert. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Welcome to episode 1850 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you and happy President's Day to everybody here in the United States of America. To all of our listeners that are outside of the U.S., today is it's a federal holiday. It's a national holiday where we remember our presidents, but especially this actually started with President Washington and Lincoln because their birthdays are both in February, but it's just for the Disney fans, it's a 4-day weekend. A lot of times where you can take off Friday, skip out on work on Monday and have a 4-day weekend at Walt Disney World. So we'll see how things go down and how things were this past weekend and all the good stuff that is happening. But today we are going to escape the cold and the snow, which has blanketed a good part of the continental United States. I mean, it has been cold and it has been cold for a long time where I live, where Scott lives. And we're going to warm it up with some palm trees, especially here in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to talk some Yacht Club. But Scott, hashtag Scotty G joining us. Scott, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Mike, happy to be here again as always. And I got to tell you something about President's Day. Like I've worked in the financial industry, like through banks, insurance companies and all that. I can't remember the last time I worked on a President's Day because that's like a bank holiday, like I've had that day off many years in a row. I'm sure you did as a teacher as well. So you can relate.
Yeah. Let me just give a little background over the last, because January and February are where I really miss teaching because, beginning of the year, you get off for Christmas break, then New Year's as a teacher. get off of that. You get off Martin Luther King holiday, third Monday of January. Then you get off President's Day in February. I don't get off any of these days anymore. And this past week, and this might have been the case for some folks around the country, Mallory had 3 consecutive snow days on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of last week. Then Friday was a teacher professional development day, so no school on Friday. She's off today on President's Day. I mean, this is like longer
than
mini
spring break. It's a mini spring break for sure.
Yeah, and like school was.
And then so my company is like tied to the stock market, and like recently, like we we started like not being open on Good Friday tied to Easter, which has been in March, so we get that March holiday. So I tell you, April is tough, like sometimes, because I just want another like Monday holiday or a Friday holiday. I gotta wait till Memorial Day.
Yeah, no kidding. And of course, back, I think it was Thursday, we were eating lunch at the table because Pam's still teaching virtually. So we all eat together. She didn't get, that's the bad part of being a virtual teacher. You don't get snow days because everybody's at home anyway. So she was kind of bummed about that. But I was like, hey, I don't get snow days either. So we just got to deal. But the thing was, like, we're having lunch and Mallory's there. She's like, if I'd have known we were going to have 3 snow days and I'm off Monday and Friday, we should have just gone to Florida. I was like, yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's 85 down there. I was looking, I follow a couple Twitter accounts to tell you the temperature and the weather at Walt Disney World, like once every couple of hours. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's 85 there. That's like 85 degrees warmer than it is here in St. Louis. Yeah. Why didn't we do this? What's wrong with us?
Yeah.
And I know you had been tempted. You've done that well, we talked about it just a couple weeks ago, the 16-hour.
I have done that.
All right. Well,
so we want to talk some Yacht Club today. Speaking of getting out of the cold and the snow, my family recently went down. This one was planned, unlike our last trip. We actually had this one planned a little bit. You booked us a nice little 6-night stay at the Yacht Club, which was by the way, which was a great rate. Disney's been putting out some awesome rates lately. We originally had Caribbean Beach, I believe, for Marathon Weekend. That got canceled, so we moved that to this week, and with the discount of the same price that we're paying for the rack rate at Caribbean Beach. So you can't beat that for the Yacht Club.
Yeah, right. I remember that because you just pushed it out a couple weeks and it was rack rate at Caribbean when the discounts came out. The price did not change really once we tagged the discount on over at Yacht Club. And we've stayed there, I've stayed there with you guys. We've stayed there in big groups and stuff. And it's a great place to land. So tell us about, again, this was kind of a rescheduled marathon trip. So you've been down this time of year before though, right?
Yep. We love going down in February. Before we started doing Marathon Weekend, this was a week we like to go because this has always been my theory. I think a lot of our listeners in the Midwest and the Northeast can relate to this. Winter comes and you have Christmas time and you're good with that. You're okay with the snow and the cold. You're looking forward to Christmas. Then New Year's happens. And then January hits and you just hate January. You battle through the terrible month of January with all the cold and the snow. And then by February, you're just done with winter.
February, this month, I'm just like, let's spring training, like baseball or what? Can we go?
Yeah. February is my least favorite month. There's a reason why there's 28 days, I feel like, because especially living where I live. So we like to get out of the winter here in Michigan for a week, and we like to do that in February. So head down. Sometimes it's around President's Weekend, sometimes it's later, sometimes it's early. This time it was early because we're moving that marathon trip. Our friend Beth was celebrating a birthday, so we wanted to say hello to her. She's the listener of the show. So we kind of just planned it around there, and no better place to be than Yacht Club. You got Crescent Lake, you got the boardwalk, and you had the best pool on property, Stormalong Bay.
Right. Okay. So let's talk just travel real quick from Michigan to Florida and back in February. Could be sketch, because you get those ice storms, snowstorms around, where you guys are. Any trouble, anything to consider for that?
No trouble. So lately we've been doing the first flight out because chances are the plane is going to be there, because you never know where your plane is going to be coming from,
right.
We could be flying out of Detroit and the weather could be great in Detroit, but maybe it's coming from Chicago or New York, somewhere where the climate isn't that good. So I really like doing that first flight out. And I know you, Mike, you tend to do the same flight every time out of St. Louis around like 10 o'clock-ish or so. Like it's not necessarily the first flight out, but man, it is early when it's a 7 o'clock flight. And if, Detroit is like an hour and a half away from us, so I'm waking up at 3 a.m. And that's me, we were just talking before the show. I don't go to bed sometimes till midnight. So it was 3 hours of sleep and then we're off to Detroit.
Not me. I always take that about 10 o'clock in the morning flight. It's usually about the second or third flight out of St. Louis. And I only live 15 minutes from the airport too. So I'm definitely kind of a win, but I do like to get up and get a run in and all that before I get out. So because I think I fly better if I've kind of burned off some energy. I don't want to be up there with all that energy.
Yeah. And I thought about this on the way home. So our flight out was 5 o'clock, pretty good time. So you can do some stuff during the day, and driving from Detroit to Michigan, it's still an hour and a half drive. So we get home at 10 o'clock, which is still kind of late. It's a full day for sure. But I saw when we landed around 8 o'clock, there were people still boarding another flight to Orlando. And I said to my wife, like, do you like this better? Do you like this option better, flying out at 8 o'clock at night where you're rested,
Mm-hmm.
You can probably work a full day's work, so you don't have to take any time off.
That's probably it. If you're in Detroit, you probably get a full day of work in and get to the airport.
Yeah, exactly. We could work a full day, but then you're arriving to Disney, 11 o'clock at night, and you book the room. So it's kind of a waste of a room. Maybe you book an all-star or something, somewhere like a lower price room, then transfer. It was interesting. Like, what would you do kind of a situation? And I think we agreed. We still like the 3 a.m. wake up call and get a good day's full down at Disney.
Yeah, I'm with you. We used to do the same thing. We drove in. Like, I remember like our first few trips, we thought we had the perfect hack. We would drive in and get to Walt Disney World like at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And we get a cheap hotel right off property. I mean, I can't remember. It was like called Main Gate or something. It was some shady hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, we only slept there. And as soon as we got up, we went to our hotel on property and, Pop Century or what have you. And it was fine. But, yeah, we've just decided we're too old for that. We just want to get there fresh and ease into the vacation.
And I'd be all for that. The problem is, I think your wife, Pam, is the same as Elizabeth. Like, she doesn't want to transfer. She doesn't want to like have to unpack for one night and then have to pack it again, because she's the packer. I always offer to do it, but she's got a system, and I don't want to interfere.
Well, too, and the last time we did this, it was like a super sketch offsite hotel. So that kind of nixed that. We're like, we'll just go to Disney and stay. Even if we have to pay an extra $100 for that first night, we're settled, we're in, we're not moving. So be it, and plus we don't have to worry about getting murdered the first night. Like I seriously, it was super sketch. So anyway, I think it was out on one or something. So let's talk Yacht Club. How was the stay? I know it was, well, let's talk weather first, actually, because I recall like you have both extremes. It was really cold when you first got there. And then when you left, it was like ideal weather. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was so perfect. And honestly, like the cold is pretty good for being in the parks, right? Like you and I have been there in the summer where it's blazing hot, where you walk out the door and then you're already dripping in sweat, and that's not pleasant, So sometimes having those 60 degree days is really nice in the parks, especially midday. It cools off at night when the sun sets and it gets chilly, like where you want to layer up basically. And Mike, that makes it really difficult for packing when you have, you have 60 degree days and then, you have 80 degree days coming. And with my family, I bring 5 shirts, like I don't bring a whole lot. I bring more running shirts than I do like the
same
park shirts.
I'll just, because what I'll do is I'll buy a couple shirts if I'm down there, if I need them. If I need a long sleeve tee, that's an excuse to buy one. I need a short sleeve tee, I'll buy another one for a souvenir.
Always my strategy, especially in the cold months. Like I'm only gonna pack one long sleeve shirt, and if I need one, I'll just buy one when I'm down there. They had the 30% AP discount going on too, which is a huge plus. So I was like, I'll get 30% off a shirt if I need to, which is the first time ever, Mike. I did not come home with a souvenir other than a Gideon's cookie. That was the only thing I brought home.
Seriously, you didn't have any souvenirs? Because I know you usually get a couple.
I didn't buy a single souvenir for me, which is a first. But,
wow.
But yeah, so the packing was pretty interesting because we had the cooler weather, at the front end of the trip. And then by the end of the trip, the last day, the real feel was 91 degrees when we left Disney Springs. I know, it was so nice. But yeah, so Yacht Club is a great place. We had a room on the second floor looking over the quiet pool there. There's like the laundry in the quiet pool. It's kind of like where the dogs are. I don't know if all the guests know, but there are dogs that stay at the Yacht Club. It's a dog-friendly resort, and we were right by the dog area, so I saw a lot of dogs. I was getting barked at in the morning for my runs, but they don't bother me. They're kind of cute to see around the resort.
Yeah, we stayed in that same general area one time, but because I saw it, it's by the tennis court and the quiet pool and so forth. But yeah, I think it was before the dogs, and yeah, I didn't think about that. So I'm glad to know that they were keeping you company. They
were keeping us company. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Crazy. Okay, so let me ask you this. I want to get all this in now. How did you guys, because if folks listening to the show have listened, a few weeks back, you just got back about 3 weeks ago from Walt Disney World. We're down there for a long weekend. What was your strategy? Because you had been there so recently. Was it very laid back as far as parks and more pool time, more resort hopping, or were you there to see Festival of the Arts, see more of that? I mean, what was the overall kind of goals of this trip?
Man, you just nailed like the big three. Festival of the Arts was number one because when we went down there a few weekends ago, like I love that festival. We saw the food kiosk. So I was like, what, we're going to be back here in a few weeks. Let's take our time then and kind of go through the festivals. So that was priority number. Actually, that was priority number two. Priority number one was swimming. Yacht Club, Stormalong Bay. That was number one. I wanted to spend and maximize as much time as the pools because you can't do that in Michigan in February, right?
Well, no.
And then number three was like kind of like dining and resort hopping. We had a lot of meals at a lot of different resorts. We're DVC as well as, we book with the Magic for Less all the time too, and / DVC members. So they've been doing some good open houses. So, showing off rooms that we'll never stay in, like 3-bedroom villas, like you can dream about it. Right. So we toured a 3-bedroom at Kidani Village, which had like the longest balcony I've ever seen on the Savannah. It was gorgeous. And it was 2 stories. So that was kind of cool to see some 2-story rooms. And did you know this, Mike? I don't Old Key West has a 3-bedroom villa. I think that's the only one that doesn't out of the 3-bedroom. Like, since it's multiple stories, it has 2 entrances. So you can enter from a separate room. So if you were staying on the 2nd story, like, and you wanted to leave early for a morning run, you could just zip out the one entrance and not disturb the rest of the group that's on the main floor. I thought it was kind of cool.
Oh my God, that's a great idea. That way you could have base. I mean, like when we stayed in the 2-bedroom, it was 2 families, but that way, if you did it that way, or 2 or 3 families, you wouldn't disturb. You could really kind of have your own space. That's interesting.
Yep. So that was pretty neat. So those were like the 3 main goals, and we definitely took advantage of all 3. Stormalong Bay for sure, but even the quiet pools. So I think the quiet pools get kind of overlooked at Yacht and Beach because Stormalong Bay is the big headliner. That's the big ticket, right? Which, why would it not be? It's got an awesome slide. It has an awesome lazy river, sand bottom. Like, why not? And you have the great bar there. But since we were so close to the quiet pool, we would go down there. We could see, like, hey, is there anyone there? Is there anyone in the hot tub? Nope. All right, let's go zip down there and like have the hot tub to ourselves for 30 minutes. So that was really nice.
So how was it though? Be honest here, because it was chilly at the beginning of your trip and you guys still went down to swim. Of course, we know the Walt Disney World Resort Hotel pools are heated, but I mean, when the air temperature's 50, 60, I mean, it's still a little nippy. I mean, how was it swimming when it was colder weather?
So it was actually better swimming in it when it was colder than when it warmed up. So I don't know if it's because of the air or what, but the pool just felt warmer on those cooler nights than it did when it turned 80 degrees. Like, if it was harder to get in the pool, as strange as it sounds. Like, I don't know if they stopped heating it or what, but the cooler nights, it just felt so good, especially the hot tub. And then, we would start in the main pool or like the quiet pool and swim around for a long time or whatever. Then we would just wrap up by going to the hot tub and get really hot so that when we hit the cold air, our bodies were already pretty warm, so it was easier to dry off, if you know what I mean.
You were like stored up the heat, get back to the room.
Oh yeah, you get off. Well, like how Mallory and Emily call Elizabeth Hot Mama, because this one time she got out of the hot tub and was steaming. That was us. You get out of that hot tub and like hit the cold air. It's just like you're like entering like a football stadium or something. Now the quarterback, Scott Gardner, got all the steam coming off.
It's like in the 70s when like the bald football players would take off their helmets and the steam is rolling.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like the slow motion NFL films going on.
Now we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The defense. No, I can't say. But yeah, it was but that's totally it. Okay. Yeah. So swimming's awesome. You guys were down. You had cold weather, then really nice weather. So talk to us about some of the first time stuff you did, because you did some new stuff. You went to Disney Springs. You guys did Gideon's this time, right?
Yep. So that was a first for us. We had a couple new firsts for us at Disney Springs. So Gideon's was the first one, and oh my gosh, like that place, as you know, anyone listening to the show probably knows, like there's been talks about multiple hour waits to just try some cookies that if you have a car, you can probably drive 40 minutes off property to go pick up, in certain time.
Wait, so just go to the downtown location or something. Yeah.
But it was our second night, I think. We're like, it was a Thursday or Friday night. We're like, it was Thursday night. We're like, this is probably gonna be the best night to hit here before like the weekend crowds start coming in, So we went there on Thursday night, went straight there to Gideon's to the virtual queue, and they're like, it's a 185-minute wait. Can you wait 3 hours?
For a baker. That's a baker.
I know, and like I had to, because you had to try it for research, Mike. Right? We had to do it for the show.
Okay, real quick though. I'm just saying, and I mean, maybe I'm being like Debbie Downer here, but the thing is, I get it. Like they look like interesting cookies, but I mean, I buy into the hype for a lot of Disney stuff. I am in. You guys know I do this podcast. Obviously, I'm in. But man, I'm still having a hard time just buying into this whole Gideon's thing. I just don't think any cookie is worth that amount. But that's a huge investment for a cookie. But I mean, go ahead though. I want to hear what you have to say.
I'll tell you my honest opinion. So yeah, so we got in the queue. And then it was funny, Mike. Then the next person went up, and the queue was closed. We were the last people that actually got in the virtual queue.
No cookie for you.
Because yeah, I mean, we got there like around 6:45, 7 o'clock, and Disney Springs closed at 10. So like, I didn't even think about it when I was getting in the queue that would be like closing time. So what we ended up doing, we walked around. We had dinner at Maria and Enzo's, which we haven't had since I think they opened, basically. So that was nice to try that out again. You know,
I almost got to eat at Maria.
I know you did. I won't even talk about that story.
I know we're not even talking about that, but I almost got to eat there once. Dang it!
I thought about that when we were dining there. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when we had a big group here, and oh yeah, Mike wasn't here.
Yeah, I got to ride the bus. Okay, go ahead.
You had the awesome chicken dinner at Beach Club Marketplace.
Yes, that was beautiful. It was a leftover chicken breast from, I think it was All Star Sports. I don't know.
Yeah. And you woke up the next morning running a half marathon already starting. So that was awesome.
I did. Yes.
But yeah, so we went to Maria Enzo's. Actually, that was really pleasant. This is something I've been doing a lot lately because Beth joined us for that. And, you know, I kind of wanted a lot of different things. And she ordered a lasagna. Elizabeth got spaghetti. Emily got a chicken parmesan. So I just asked for a plate so I could just eat off everyone else's.
Good idea.
Yeah, it worked out. I got my own little like variety platter.
It's like you get a Fazoli's, you get the little sampler.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, so we did that, and it was really good. And then the M&M store had opened up recently. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, if we're waiting, we still had like another 2 hours just about, because there was no one at Maria and Enzo, so that was a quick meal. So I was like, man, we still have like 2 more hours. Like, what are we going to do? So Emily really wanted to go to M&M stores, and we're like, why not? Let's see what their virtual queue is like. They didn't have a virtual queue. We basically got right in, and it was actually really neat. I was actually really impressed by it. They had it kind of reminded me of the Lego store, where on the back wall it was kind of like build your own like bucket, basically. Instead of Legos, it was M&Ms, and they had all sorts of flavors, from peanut M&Ms to the regular milk chocolate to peanut butter, then obscure flavors like cheesecake.
I can get behind this idea. For one, I'm not waiting forever. For two, M&Ms are awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't need them to say Mike Ramen on them. I know that they make custom M&Ms, but I mean, they taste the same. I'm not paying extra for them to say maybe a little BOGP one just to sit here but I'd eat it. That'd be the problem. Like,
that would be the problem. Like, you're not just going to let that M&M just sit, or Riley will find it one day and eat it. But actually, so we really did want to try the custom ones, but the printer was down the day we were there, so we weren't able to try the custom. Yeah,
it sounds so funny. The M&M printer was down.
Yeah, I know. So Emily made a bucket, which is really funny. The cast member was like, "Now pull the lever really slowly; they come out fast." And she goes down to that first one, like 3/4 of the bucket is full with one flavor. Yeah. That's like $50 of M&Ms.
That was Goofy Candy Company with Paige when she was little. I'd always tell her, because the same thing, right? They have those machines where you fill the bag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, easy. We're gonna get a bunch of different stuff. Don't pull down too hard. Oh, there was $16 worth of gummy bears.
I know. And then I'm like, this is like the milk chocolate flavor too. Like, this is the flavor you always eat. So then she could only put like 7 or 8 cheesecake ones or 10 of the Thin Mints. Like.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good souvenir, and it was kind of cool. Like, if you have like a family member that likes M&Ms, or I think it could be a cool souvenir to bring back, because not only do they have the buckets, they have like dispensers too. So you can buy like an M&M dispenser where you like kind of hit a lever or something and a little bit comes out. Like, we thought about getting my in-laws that as a little souvenir for coming home, and kind of inexpensive too, and it's fun to make. So we were actually pretty pleased.
That is over on the west side.
West side, right by kind of like Splitsville area, kind of like over there. Yep. So it's a hike.
Let me ask you this: so did you guys go to Everglades again, or did you skip that this time?
So we went to go to Everglades again because we had all this time to kill, right?
I mean, you're in the neighborhood, right? I mean, you're over there.
Why not go get a donut? their line was crazy. And I don't think you could even get in the virtual queue. So we missed on Everglazed this time, unfortunately. Dang it,
Oh well, there's next
But
time. Okay, well, but how was the cookie? I mean,
yeah,
eventually after 17 hours, you got in Gideon.
yeah.
So
Yep. So we did some more shopping. That's the thing. They get you with that. Like Disney's got to love like Gideon's being there for these 3 or 4 hour queues, right?
you're hostage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did some shopping and then finally like we went up to them and we're like, hey, like, are we ever gonna get called or what? And then like, yeah, you're next up. And then like 2 minutes later we got called. So we still had to wait like another 20-minute line. But we get in there and the theming is really cool. I'm sure you've seen some photos or videos. It's like it's very dark and it's got like this cool library feel, like kind of steampunkish. Like I think it's really neat in there. And you can only max it out at 6 cookies. And Beth was with us, so like, well, let's get 6 cookies and let's just do a sample. So we got 6 different cookies. We went outside and found a seat at Disney Springs. It was cold that night, and like we're trying to find a table that had a heater close by, but we didn't have any luck there. But we just, we cut them up, tried a bunch of them, and I was underwhelmed.
Okay, that makes you feel better. No, I mean
Yeah.
it's personal preference. I mean, cookies are so different. But well, out of the 6, what was your favorite? I mean, if you had to pick one.
Yeah. So my favorite was the peanut butter one. It's very similar to the chocolate chip, except it's peanut butter chips on it and has like some peanut butter coating on it. But I'll tell you, I was underwhelmed. But similar to the Everglazed, every morning after a run or a walk, I would like cut off a little piece, afterwards. And it got better over time, to be honest, which is hence why I came home with another 6 on the next day.
Did not. Oh my gosh, that's
But I will
crazy.
tell you what is the best about Gideon's is actually the cake. Their cake is unreal, man. Like it is like super moist. I know people hate that word, but it really is. And their frosting is unbelievable. The day we flew out, when we got the 6 cookies, they had like the peanut butter like frosted chocolate cake.
Oh,
We're like, well, let's get one of those. And then Elizabeth was like, I don't even know if we can bring this on the flight, to be honest, if someone has a peanut allergy, whatever. And I was like, oh, is that your way of saying we should just eat this right now?
well, let's make sure that doesn't happen. We're gonna keep everybody safe. I'm gonna eat this piece of cake.
Yeah. And I didn't even want it because I was really full from Boathouse still. And I could just see on the look on her face that I had to try it after that first bite. And so I dove in and like, oh my God, it was just magic in a bite. I tell you that cake was so good. It was one of the best things I had eating that week, including Festival of Art food and all the great meals we had. It was an unbelievable slice of cake.
Oh my gosh, that totally sounds like something I would love. 'Cause I love
Mm.
peanut butter. Love it.
But
Oh,
this is, I'm really curious what people are going to do. Elizabeth and I were talking about this. So you have Gideon's, you have now Everglazed,
yep.
and Sprinkles is just down the road. And I think Sprinkles is still a big hit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Sprinkles was all the hotness, and now it's
yeah,
kind of losing
that's
its.
the thing. So we ordered those to go to. So Elizabeth didn't know I was going to Gideon's, but she already had placed like a Sprinkles order.
You
But
guys were good. You guys
I
had it.
know. I know. So, but she got like right in, like she did the mobile ordering, and there was like no one like getting cupcakes at Sprinkles, and so it's going to be really interesting once like the popularity, like the hype goes down for Gideon's and Everglazed. It's going to be like, well, which everyone's going to have a go to. I feel like, right? Like, yeah, well, I'm Team Sprinkles. When we go down here for dessert, that's what we're bringing back to the room. Where someone's going to be like, well, no, I prefer bringing the cookies back. I'm very curious, like how that's going to work out.
Well, plus, when you think about it, you got the patisserie, you got Amorette's, you have
Yes.
there's actually a chocolate shop still in Disney Springs, and
Mhm.
remember, you also got Ghirardelli over in the
Yeah.
marketplace, and Ample Hills was going to go in. Well, I think
Oh, that's right.
I think that's extra Everglazed is now, but
And
I mean,
I would love to know what the Be Our Guest fans think of like when you're at one of these restaurants like Boathouse, Homecoming, that have awesome desserts, as you
right,
know, like the hummingbird cake at Homecoming is awesome. You got the baked Alaska at
yeah,
Boathouse.
house.
When a server asks you like, what would you like for dessert? Like, I'm always thinking like, well, I'm gonna leave and go find a different snack somewhere, to continue my time here. And that's a tough call.
That's how they get you. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense though for a place like Everglades, Sprinkles, Gideon's. Like if you're just going over to not have dinner, but just to shop and to snack on something, pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah, good. Okay, so we could talk about this all night, but let's talk about. Okay, let's just talk Festival of the Arts. So you went
Yep.
there. What were the highlights of that for you this time?
I was disappointed this year in Festival of the Arts, and mostly like in the food kiosks. And I feel like I had to go back to my previous photos or look at previous menus, but I was not as impressed with the food menus as I have for other festivals. But I still had some good stuff. Like I've had the grilled cheese with the tomato soup. Like that's such a pretty looking dish.
Yep.
I had that. God, what's the? It's I'm drawing a blank on me, but it's like the funnel cake. I had the funnel cake with like all the colored frosting.
Yes, yeah. My wife saw that and she was like, "I need that. We need to go down there now."
Yeah, I don't even need the funnel cake. Just I'll open my mouth up and you just put that frosting in my mouth. That was so good. But like, I really love the art kiosks. There's so many great artists that have booths set up. I know our friends, the Shingles, actually commissioned a piece of art. They got custom to show, like, they painted like a Cooper's Hawk like wine bottle on there and like put their name on it. So that was pretty cool, and I would love to do something like that. But not being a local, I was thinking like, how the heck am I going to get this home?
Was it like Phil crossing the finish line with like his arms up and a Cooper's Hawk bottle in his hand or something?
That's what it should have been. No, maybe for their next piece, that's what they'll do.
That'd have been awesome. I'd have bought the production for sure.
But there's so many cool the art, and then you'll see the artists out there a lot too. So they can, if you buy a piece, they'll sign it, and like customize it there. So that's actually my favorite part of the festival is just seeing the artist and all the artwork. Normally the food is up there too, but I don't know if it was just me, but I was just disappointed this time. But maybe that was just my take, for this year.
But again, you're thinking back on, this is the first festival since the pandemic, right? Because we're in that weird time right now where this time last year was when the world really started changing, right? I mean, over the next couple of weeks moving forward is when we went from everything is just, 2020, it's fine, we're off to a new year. And then all of a sudden within a couple of weeks, everything changed. So festival last year was totally 100% normal. This year, again, now we're kind of getting, it's weird. We're getting into that cycle again. It's like the second year now. It's crazy.
But there's a couple of new things that happen to be at Epcot too. I got to try a new restroom in France.
Oh, yes.
I got a new SG rating in the book.
Yeah, the SG's on that one. It looked nice from the outside. Yeah,
no, it was nice. It was probably like a 6 or a 7, but it's a 9 when you consider how badly France needed a restroom, though. It desperately needed that. So it's really good to have that in France. And also speaking of France, so during the Super Bowl, we were there during the Super Bowl too, which is kind of weird, like being in a theme park when the Super Bowl is going on. I thought it would just really empty out, and I mean, I didn't really tell a difference.
I was going to ask you that because I've always wondered, because that's one of the questions we get every year, and I get it like 10 or 15 times, from like December, like once the playoffs start, we get those in my inbox. Where can I watch a Super Bowl? Because I want to watch it at Walt Disney World. We're going to be there on Super Bowl Sunday, and I've always wondered if the parks are empty, and this year the Super Bowl was 90 minutes down the road in Tampa too. So
I know.
You didn't think there was any difference in the park during the Super Bowl?
It was, so I'll tell you this, it was like Mardi Gras, like during for like LSU shirts, like how many like Tampa Bay shirts I was seeing this weekend. But I didn't really feel a difference from like any other night of the week, basically. I will say, like, we weren't at Magic Kingdom at night any one of those weeks. That's the park I think that would like had the biggest impact, right? I feel like Magic Kingdom would, like, that's the one you would want to take advantage of, low crowds at least. So I don't know how Magic Kingdom was, but Epcot felt relatively the same during the game. We did have dinner at Chefs de France that night. And what was cool, Mike, they actually sat us in upstairs at the signature restaurant. So I'd never been up there before. So that was kind of cool. Monsieur's Paul.
Oh, nice.
And it got me thinking, like, that's not the only restaurant that I heard them doing that. So Liberty Tree is using like the Diamond Horseshoe for additional seating.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Grand Floridian Cafe is using 1900 Park Fare for additional seating. So it's kind of interesting how, all the restaurants aren't open, but part of that reason could be because due to capacity issues in the restaurant, you have to space people out. They're taking advantage of nearby tables, at another location, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That's a great idea. It's better than just letting those dining rooms sit empty. At least you can have people in there eating. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So what's it like up there? Because I will never eat there. I never thought I'd eat Chefs de France, and I've eaten there twice. But what's it like there?
So it was so quiet in there, man. And I don't know, because I think it's just the way the acoustics and the decor is set up in that restaurant. And then the fact that, with social distancing, it's not a full restaurant either. It's still like half empty. And I will say I was really tired that night, and I paid more attention to the Super Bowl on my phone than my guest that I was dining with, which I felt so terrible about.
You don't want a quiet, dark restaurant when you're tired. That's happened to me on the cruise line before. Like you're just exhausted. You're just like, oh, I need something bright and like
Yeah.
loud. You know?
Yeah, it wasn't, and like our family, we've had like 3 different groups, like you, the Foresters, and us have been at Chefs de France, like in the main dining, and it's like a riot sometimes with our families, like, and you were not seeing that at all upstairs. It was just people's eyes glazed over, they were tired, it was dark, and I don't know, not a whole lot of energy was happening there.
So now, when you ran into Gronk on Monday before you came home, just kidding.
Yeah,
No,
he didn't give me a high five. We did an elbow bump though,
yeah, he spiked you. I do want to ask you about that though, because again, it's such a weird year. Usually, there's that Super Bowl kind of mini parade with the MVP, and this time I would have expected to be Brady and Gronk. I don't think Brady was there. I think it was just Gronk.
Yeah, Brady wasn't there. In the Parks blog post, they just made a comment that Brady will be traveling later this year with his family or something like that. They don't want to announce when he's going to be there.
I think he was saving up for the boat parade in Tampa. He was
the avocado tequila.
Exactly. He was getting ready to tweet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was
How about that parade though? Like all parades should be like on a boat. Like I'm just saying, like that was awesome.
Mallory said, "Did you see he threw that Lombardi trophy across from one boat to the next?" I'm like, for Tom Brady, And she said it also kind of reminded her of a podcast cruise, which I don't know what that says.
I don't know.
Yeah, they were having fun. No, but what was you were in the Magic Kingdom that morning because I saw and I knew, everybody was kind of milling about. I saw that, people were milling about kind of in the hub and they made some announcement for people to like spread out and back off. And everybody on Twitter was like, they're not moving. Nobody's moving. I mean, you're there to see your Super Bowl hero. And I mean, if nobody else is moving, I doubt there's an incentive for anybody to move. What was it like? I mean, did you see any of that going on?
So it's a very interesting day in the Magic Kingdom, I will say. So, with the park pass, this is actually a trip we planned, so I booked it ahead of time. And I purposely booked the Magic Kingdom for this day in case there was a parade. I knew the Super Bowl was in Tampa, like, hey, that'd be interesting if it'd be really cool to be a part of that. I've never been, at the Magic Kingdom for a Super Bowl, so that'd be a new thing. But then, I had this feeling that they're probably not going to do anything, why would they do that? But they didn't announce it until like a couple days before. But I kept the park reservation, we love Magic Kingdom. But anyway, there's a lot of craziness happening that day. So we get there, and one of the first attractions we went on was like Winnie the Pooh or whatever. And there's a plaid like coming up the exit, as we're exiting out. And then you see this big guy, like with this huge entourage. He has 2 Disney security guys, and he has like a plain clothes, like personal security guy, like the earpiece. It wasn't Gronk, but I only caught like 2-second glimpse of this guy. And like, I mean, it was just, so he had like all this crazy security. I'm like, oh, it's gotta be a football player. I don't know if he's from Kansas City or Tampa, but like clearly this guy is a big time football player. And we kept following each other. Like we were like on the same touring plan. Like we would always see them. And then we got off Big Thunder and he had like 4 or 5 plaids, just like, guest relation cast members just standing around, and like those same 3 security guys. It was fascinating to see. And like he wasn't the only one. We saw a lot of big like private tours happening that day. And it might not have been football players. It could have been people that maybe went to the Super Bowl, and then had money that then came over to the Magic Kingdom the next day. But then so we're getting ready to leave. This is like around noonish, maybe 12:30. We're gonna take a boat over the Wilderness Lodge to have some fried chicken at the P&J's quick service or whatever, because Elizabeth was craving that. So, but then we see like this huddle of people, like kind of looking near the plaza. We're like, Elizabeth like jumped all over. She's like, why are all these people like staring in this one direction at the plaza? This is really weird.
One Direction was there?
No, not One Direction. Okay, but maybe they were. Maybe they were giving a private tour that day too, because everyone else was. So we walk over to this area, and then everyone like started asking us like, "Hey, who are you standing here waiting for?" We're like, I'm like, I don't know. I just saw all these people here, so I just stood. Now I had a feeling it was going to be Gronk or like some type of, because I knew Gronk was like touring Walt Disney World, so I just figured it was him. So we're just standing there, and I'm thinking like, this is not smart. Like this is not social distancing. Right. We're all like huddled up in this huge area waiting for what? Nothing. And then finally, like a cast member came over and like, just to let you know, there's nothing to see here. I was just told to rope off this area. You're going to have more fun doing attractions instead of just standing here, not being social distanced, basically. Yeah.
I think it was Pam Forrester. I think it was Pam Forrester. She told me she had some VIP plaids with her that day. You
Yeah.
could be waiting on Pam.
It wouldn't really surprise me, I mean, I did see a couple people wearing like some Penguin jerseys with Forrester on the back, so maybe that's what they were waiting for. But
it is interesting though when you're there during times like that,
yeah,
because you never know what you're going to see, and that's a great thing about Walt Disney World. It's like you can be there on some random day in August and you can run into celebrities.
absolutely, yeah. Like I've seen, especially at Disneyland, you see it a lot. We've seen some celebrities out there. But we just gave up after 10 minutes. I said to Elizabeth, like, this is really silly. Like, why are we standing here? Like, we're not going to see anything. And then, you were just kind of talking about it. Like, they ended up making like some announcements, like, hey, there's not going to be a Super Bowl parade and all this. And then I ended up seeing like the promo photo. Have you seen it of Gronk? Like,
With the
he was totally there backstage.
Yeah, with the confetti. So where was he? I didn't even I didn't look at it that closely, but I saw it was like a picture of the confetti and all that.
I'm pretty sure, like in crowded times, like they would have you, instead of bypassing Main Street, you would walk behind the shops.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was in that alley, but it
sense.
was close enough to like the plaza, which is where everyone was huddled, where you could get like a shot of the castle behind him.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty smart thinking for the promo.
Yeah. That is something though, because again, the times are so strange, but it's a shame that folks that are huge fans of these players don't get that chance to see them. But I mean, the thing is, you can't, right? I mean, you saw it. Everybody was gathered in the hub on top of each other. There was no social distancing.
It was not safe, man. It really wasn't.
But Brady or Gronk or anybody going down Main Street, it would have just been a free for all. So
it would have been really bad. But it was still interesting to be to like be a part of that, like, and just see like all these Buccaneer fans or Penguin fans looking for Forrester.
That's right. Could you imagine though if LSU won the national championship and then they had Ed Ogeron going down Main Street USA? You'd have purple and gold. Nobody understand what was going on.
Nope. I thought Mardi Gras was at Universal, not here.
That's right. Mardi Gras, I think Fat Tuesday's tomorrow as the show goes on. So yeah, it's a shout out to our purple and gold fans. All right. So what else? We have about 10 more minutes. So any other highlights from the trip?
Just some good dining. You know how we like to eat. I will say Topolino's is making like the top two for me right now. We had another spectacular meal there. I ended up doing this thing where I ordered like an entree as an appetizer because I wanted to try the rigatoni. When you go up to Topolino's, they have this great like wine rack, and then they have like this homemade pasta kind of thing that's looking here. And I'm like, well, let's try their pasta. They only have 2 pasta dishes. So I ordered this rigatoni dish for the table. And without even asking, Beth was with us, so we had 4 of us. They ended up like plating 4 separate. They ended up dividing it in the kitchen, which I thought was like a nice little touch. Wow. And I tell you, it was delicious. It was awesome pasta. And I tried fish. I'm normally like a steak guy. I was like, Robert talked about this awesome fish he had there, so I had this fish, and it was just unbelievable. It's just a great dining experience at Topolino's.
God, I still got to get there. I still have not made it. I feel like I'm the last person on earth not to eat there. So got to get.
You just gotta get there just to be on the terrace. Like the views from up there, the Riviera, are just gorgeous. And I know they had the breakfast meal, with the characters kind of doing the social distancing thing. And the views during breakfast are great too, but there's something about being up there at night. And what I really like about it, I think it'd be great for like our families to kind of go there and do something, because they have these great like lounges, like these like outdoor furniture on the terrace. So, you grab a margarita or whatever, Mike, then we go out to the terrace and then just sit on those lounges and enjoy like the breeze. Like, it's ideal. It kind of makes me think of cruising a little bit, actually.
This summer, it's got to happen. We got to make it happen.
We'll make it happen. But yeah, so, just great dining. We did a lot of pool time. Got to see some friends. I mentioned Beth. We got to see Teresa, some other great friends of the podcast. I met Ashley, who I think is in the chat. So she said she was starstruck when she saw me, which, I'm just a simple guy from the Midwest, right, Mike?
That's right. And we have fun with this. That's all we do. And but it is so cool when folks come up and say hello, that they listen to the show. I mean, we love that, because that's why we do it, right? We just want to talk Disney with folks that get it. If you're listening to the show, you get it. And we appreciate that.
I do have an unusual thing right now. I don't know when my next trip is going to be, which Same. is I kind of get that itch, like I was like, man, do I go for spring break? Do I wait for May for like, some flower and garden and some warmer weather? So decisions need to be made in the #ScottyG household.
I will tell you what, though. I do know when my next trip's going to be because Summit is the last of April. So I'm just
Uh,
telling you. That
uh,
might be a good thing to look at. This summer, though, we got to take our long trip, but I still haven't. I'm eyeballing a couple of options, but I'm kind of waiting to see, like, waiting on pay. It's one of those things
yeah,
like
for
trying
sure.
to see how things go, but we'll definitely, I mean, we have to. We didn't even go down last summer. We
And you
couldn't.
got a dog, so if Paige comes, you need to find someone to watch the dog. Like that's a
Yeah.
new
No,
responsibility. I think.
no, that's Paige's dog. That is her. No, because we're usually sitters, but yeah, that'll be her. Okay, so as we wrap this up, though, I got to mention this one thing that you did this trip that was very unique to this trip, which I think is super cool. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the podcast, but we talk about it all the time when we're at Walt Disney World together, our families. You are a huge, huge fan of a certain living item at Walt Disney World, all over property. And I am just as large of a fan of this item as you are. We're constantly, like, we'll be down there for a week and we're constantly commenting to each other. Check that one out. No, look at that one. So go ahead and tell me about your fan site that you created, your fan Instagram account, and everybody needs to go check it out today.
Yeah, we're not talking about like matching shirts. Look at that
No.
matching shirt or anything like that, or matching hats.
Yeah.
We're talking about palm trees. And
Right.
there's nothing that excites me more being in Florida, especially when it's February and it's 2 degrees back home, than seeing some awesome looking palm trees. So actually, Mike, I didn't even have the idea. It was a listener of the show, who often calls on the live show, Marlessa. She sent me a message and she's like, because I always post like on Instagram, my own Instagram, like all these palm trees. She's like, Scott, you really should just create like a fan site for palm trees at Disney. I'm like, actually, you know what? That's a spectacular idea. I'm going to do that. So that's how Palm Trees of Disney was created. So, I mean, it only has like 30 followers and I don't even care. Maybe they'll get more in the future, but the goal is just to share like a palm tree a day or maybe two of just different areas of Disney. It doesn't even have to be Walt Disney World. I already have lined up, Mike, some Castaway Key palm trees I'm going to be posting,
Awesome.
and some Disneyland palm trees. And there's only 30 followers, like I said, but like I've thrown it out there too. Like I want the people that follow it to share their photos and give them some photo credits. So Mike, you send me a palm tree, I'll give you the photo credit, and just make everyone have a virtual happy day looking at palm trees.
So what is it? Palm trees at Disney or palm trees of Disney?
Palm Trees of Disney. So if it gets really popular, Disney might come out at me, and tell me to change the handle. We'll see.
Yeah, you totally play with fire there, man. I'm just saying, no.
I
There's a reason for WDWs because it could be a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
I know that is really cool, and it's especially for this time of year. And it is kind of funny because we've gotten to know each other over the past like 6, 7, 8 years. Like the thing is like we're talking about stuff, and of course you listen to this show. We're always off on tangents. We're talking about crazy stuff, but the whole thing is like I love palm trees. I'm like, no, I love palm trees. It's like so many things, like that's why we get along so well. But when I used to drive down to Walt Disney World because I wouldn't fly, one of the greatest things on the drive is we hit Georgia. We would always have this contest of who would see the first palm tree, right, of the trip. And it would usually happen around like Macon or, maybe like Valdosta, once you start to hit where palm trees could live, it was always exciting. That meant you were getting close to Florida. You were getting close to Walt Disney World. And I think it's when you live in the northern climates that a palm tree just signifies like vacation. Like if you live in Florida, a palm tree is just a tree, right?
Just a tree.
It's like vacation.
I would never think that of a palm tree. Oh, that's just a tree.
I mean, truly, when you live in Missouri or Michigan, you just, whenever you see a palm tree, it's always like a great thought, right? I mean, it's so unique that you're on vacation, and it's always warm and
it makes your soul happy, right?
Yes. And I love palm trees with Christmas lights on them. I think that
I know. The Corona.
Yeah. I don't even drink Corona, but God, I love that commercial where there's, the.
Yeah, so good. Where are your favorite palm trees at Walt Disney World? Do you have
we share some of them. I love the ones at Old Key West on the main drag right there along the river.
I showed you a cool photo that I just got that's framed with those.
Those are some of it. You know what? Special shout out to the ones in Tomorrowland, fake palm trees, but those are super cool.
Yeah, I love those palm trees as well. My wife doesn't care for them. My family doesn't care for Tomorrowland, Mike. I don't know what's up with them.
Oh man, I love Tomorrowland.
The best park for palm trees though is the studios. Even like the parking lot of the studios has some of the best palm trees. Like by the old like tram station where the tram would pick you up to take you to the parking lot. Like there's a great stretch of palm trees over there. Just they're everywhere.
There's some really good palm trees too, right around Echo Lake.
Yep. And Sunset Boulevard has like they're just like in a row of them, you know.
This show is brought to you about the palm trees. That's
so palm trees at Disney. If you want to get a daily dose of some virtual sunshine and some palm trees, give that a follow, I guess.
All right. Well, hey, check that out. We're going to jump out of here and let you get on with your President's Day. But Scott, we will be hearing from you this Sunday night as we take your calls at 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. You want to talk to Scott about palm trees? You want to talk to me about whatever else? Let's talk to both of us. We're going to go over the news at the top of the show from the week and then take your calls. Join us this Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central on Facebook and YouTube. So, Scott, have a great Monday. And I know it's a tough one, man. You got a full week of work. Well, not full week, but you got 4 days and, you're not in Florida. It's rough.
It's going to be rough, but you got to be able to take those Florida trips. So work is very important.
Right, that's right. We work to go to Florida. All right. Yeah. Don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today for your next Walt Disney World vacation. We'll take great care of you. Awesome discounts out there right now for 2021. You get some free tickets, or you can get nice room discounts at the deluxe, moderate, and value hotels. And we always work the numbers to see which one works out in your favor to save you the most amount of money. So just drop by the magicforless.com today. Check out all the great trip planning tools. And while you're there, fill out that quote form and we'll take great care of you. Mention the Be Our Guest podcast, and you and I are going to be planning a great trip over at themagicforless.com. Please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. It's a free way to support the show. It just takes one extra click. So beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a huge shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Get some Mike in the Midwest every Thursday. This past Thursday, we talked about snow days. And I gave us stories about what it was like to look forward to a snow day because I'm a lot older than Scott. We listened on the radio, and if you missed the news at 5:00 in the morning, you had to wait a whole nother hour to see if you were off school. But then I gave the secret, and I'll just give it here. Teachers look forward to snow days more than kids. And I know as a kid, you thought you look forward to a snow day the most. No. Teachers 10 times more needed the snow days. So if you want some fun stuff like that, just go over to patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media, Instagram and Twitter at beourguestmike and at beourguestpod. And of course, subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for the Be Our Guest podcast. And until we get together again on Sunday night, for Scott and I, we'll be back on Wednesday with your listener questions with Pam and Ricky. We're out of here. So stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Something must have happened in the basketball.
So I had to do that too. The worst was, so we were Lansing Public Schools, so L, and I would tune into the radio, and if they were like on the M's or the N's, I would be so mad because I would have missed Lansing, so I'd have no idea.
That's exactly
I had to wait for the next time around.
That's exactly what I talked about. Hang on one second. Hang on one sec. Let's see. Cable 1.
We are behind the scenes at the Be Our Guest podcast.
I'm seeing what the texting about. Hang on. Oh, it's a commercial. We must be beating South Carolina right now because Paige just texted. Hang on.
Yeah, I think Minnesota beat Purdue, and
no.
Let's just say I had some interest in Purdue tonight.
Who's playing?
I think the Gophers of Minnesota beat the Boilermakers tonight.
I don't know any college basketball outside of the SEC. I should, but I don't. Apparently, the refs are hosing us in that game. I don't know how Paige is texting. She's on the bench.
Dude, what is up with? So this is the most like I've watched Mizzou basketball because Michigan State was like off for like 3 weeks basically because of COVID, and they're not that great this year.
Yeah.
So like it is tough being a Mizzou basketball fan. I'm starting to realize.
Dude, it's tough being a Mizzou fan of any. This is how it is. Like you rank 10, you get crushed.
Yeah.
Like, and then we'll win a couple. Then
we'll beat Tennessee, and then like it's so crazy.
Dude.
Like,
and that's how it is in football. Like we cannot have nice things. We cannot sustain success. Brutal. Oh my God, my phone's blowing up. All right. Well, I'm going to duck out of here. So, yeah, I'll text you. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. Tell everybody we said hey.
I will do.
All right. See you guys. Yeah, I will. All right. See you, Captain. Bye.
Ahoy.
See.